Can you tell me the game just by listening to the audio? Yeah, you got it. Guessing that you've already played the game or just read the title of the video? It's Lethal Company. A fun and silly little game that mixes the concept of horror and co-op treasure hunt so well. You get to play as a worker and your goal is get item, company happy. But if you even have the smallest amount of hours in this game, you know the nightmares behind all of it. We still go through it regardless because we get to see our friends explode. But while I was starting my new adventures with my friends, I wondered, can I run faster than these workers? Though they aren't slackers in the strength department, their cardio is something interesting. Your stamina will absolutely get obliterated if you just hold down shit. Oh, you don't know where it is? It's right there. I don't blame you, the UI is kinda confusing, but it's the thing you use to either traverse the map or get the hell away from whatever you just heard. What was that? Anyways, my question is, how much better are we compared to them? Let's first start by looking at what we have to offer. The average American male weighs about 90 kilograms and stands at 176 centimeters. That checks out, but how much can we lift? To answer that question, we must consider some things. What type of exercise should we use to maximize our output? 2. Do we use a 1 rep max system or multiple? And 3. What type of average Joe are we talking about? Are we a gym rat or a snoozer? Well, to maximize our output in a semi-realistic scenario, the deadlift is good for this since it's essentially you picking up an object from the ground. I know it's not carrying things like the workers, but I'm trying to give us a fighting chance. For the reps, which is the number of times you execute the movement, 1 rep max should be quite enough. There's not really any more reason to do more than 1 if we're just trying to maximize the load. And lastly, most of the population doesn't train, so taking them as a beginner isn't as far-fetched. Now with the standard set, let's get to the numbers. An untrained human of our caliber is able to deadlift on average 72 kilograms. Which is not that far from our own weight. I'd honestly give ourselves a good pat on the back, but we're dealing with these people. Oh. Holy shit. Yep, he just tanked 6 shovel shots. Since we don't have that much information about the workers, I had to get creative. First, I had to find some reference in game to compare them to, like trees, but there's too many, and boulders, they have inconsistent sizing, and pumpkins? Wait, can we measure a spaceship? Can we make this in— Alright. First, no. Second, doors. Doors have a uniform height of 2 meters flat or 6'5". And assuming that doors in game are the same, then we just have to take a picture of the door right next to bobbard, then measure them with an actual ruler and do the counts. And after thorough measuring, the doors measure at a whopping 5.08 centimeters, and bobbard measures at 4.064 centimeters. After doing some cross multiplications, bobbard stands out at 160 centimeters. Wait, if he's this short, this guy's an absolute beast! And the reason I say that is because of these things. The gold bar is the heaviest single-hand object you can find in-game, weighing at 35 kilos or 77 pounds. That's more than our regular loadout that we come back to the ship with. But to go even further, you can carry a two-handed item that weighs a solid 38 kilos or 84 pounds. Do you know what it is? If you guessed the cash register, you're right. If you ever manage to walk around with this stupidly rare loadout, you would be walking with 142 kilos or 315 pounds. What? We're here struggling to lift 70 kilos while they're just casually doubling that weight and walking with it. In comparison, the strongest people in the world have a challenge to walk around with 80 kilos in each hand. They would go head to head with some of the strongest people humanity has to offer. But that's still in theory. They haven't shown anything other than just walking and carrying, so that's all we got.
It's me.
And never mind. Calculating their VO2 max is going to be tricky. If you don't know, VO2 is the maximum amount of oxygen your body is able to inhale and use during a hard exercise. And well, none of the methods that measure someone's VO2 is 100% on the dot, unless if you have this machine. Which I don't think the game's gonna have a patch for that. We're gonna have to work with what we have. The method that I'll be using is called the Cooper method. It simply calculates the maximum distance a person can travel in 12 minutes. That sounds simple enough. Now, let's measure the distance. How do I measure the distance? The game doesn't have any measurements, or at least I do, but the door and the worker only covers y-axis. I can't just lay the door down or the person. Okay, listen, the ragdoll is inconsistent. I can't just bonk someone on the head and just call it a day. For so many days, I couldn't wrap my head around an object that has any consistent size on an x-axis. I was gonna drop this part altogether until a shower thought appeared. Quite literally was in the shower and I was straight up so relieved when I got this solution. The only item in the game that can go straight up and go flat down is the extension ladder. If we put it side by side with a player, I could actually get its size and then use it as a ruler for my sprint. And as per usual, there's still some caveats with this. First, I don't know if the box is even on all of its sides, and for simplicity's sake, I'll have to assume so. Second, I don't really have a controlled space to do my sprint. There are bumps, there's holes, quicksand, pumpkins, and so many more. Why not just go inside of the bunker or the mansion? Well, the bunker doesn't have a high ceiling, so my extension ladder is not gonna go all the way through. And as for the mansion, I can't really fit all of the ladder. So once again, for simplicity's sake number 2, we're gonna assume that my trajectory is flat, and even though it's not, we're gonna have to roll with it. Alright, I got the numbers! After putting Bobbert right next to this very menacing weapon, it's around this height. After that, I found a relatively flat area at the back of experimentation, and measuring the thing gives us roughly this. I proceeded to do the Cooper method for the next 12 minutes of my life, and we get a shocking answer. That also means he runs at 12 kilometers per hour. Yeah, that puts him right above average for VO2 scaling. I honestly thought that with his recovery time, he would have been leagues above us, but he's a silly little guy. He can't be superhuman at everything. So what have we learned today? Bobbert is nothing to scoff at. Sure, it might take an absurd amount of hits to eliminate spiders, dumpers, nutcrackers. Wow, that's a lot of tanky enemies. But that just shows us how absurd his enemies are. And of course, the thing I wanted to know since the beginning, can't we outrun him? Yes! Let's go! But only for a brief moment. Give him a minute and we'll probably get left in the dust because of his bottomless stamina and his solid speed. Alright, that's it for the video. This was my first scripted video and it took a really long time to make, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, keep up the good work, keep up the grind, and never say bye. Alright, see you guys next time. See ya!